Beneath the streets of the most ancient cities in the world there is another world, a network of tunnels, passages, chambers, and galleries excavated over millennia by civilizations that needed to hide treasures, move armies unseen, store water in times of drought, or bury their dead away from the eyes of the invader. Many of those tunnels were sealed, forgotten, or simply swallowed by time until centuries or millennia later, someone rediscovered them by accident, following a cold draft of air, a crack in the floor of a basement, or the testimony of an ancient text that no one had taken seriously. The findings that have emerged from those reunions with the subterranean past rank among the most extraordinary in world archaeology, and some of them have rewritten the history of entire civilizations. The fortresses that at first glance appear massive and impenetrable hold beneath their foundations a network of secrets that the builders took with them to the grave, but which the stone, more durable than any human memory, has preserved for centuries, waiting to be rediscovered. Leave your like, subscribe, and share. Let's begin. One of the most documented and studied cases of hidden tunnels beneath an ancient fortress is that of the tunnel system of the city of Acre, in northern Israel. Acre, known in Arabic as Akka and in the Crusader sources as Saint-Jean d'Acre, was one of the most important cities of the eastern Mediterranean during the era of the Crusades. The Knights Hospitaller, the military order that controlled Acre for much of the 12th and 13th centuries, built beneath the city a series of underground installations of a scale that archaeologists did not begin to understand in its entirety until the late 20th century. The order, founded in Jerusalem in the 11th century with the original mission of caring for sick pilgrims, became over time one of the most powerful military forces in the Holy Land, with economic resources that allowed them to build fortresses and conventual complexes of extraordinary engineering. The underground complex of the Hospitallers in Acre was rediscovered gradually from 1994, when the authorities of the Israel Antiquities Authority initiated systematic excavations beneath the Ottoman Arab city that had been built on top of the Crusader ruins. What they found was a collection of vaulted halls, corridors, interior courtyards, and, crucially, a 350-meter tunnel that connected the Hospitallers complex with the city's port, through which the Crusaders could move troops, provisions, and prisoners without being seen from the surface. The tunnel, carved in sandstone, has a height of nearly 2 meters and a width of approximately 1.5 meters, enough for 2 people to pass each other. On its walls are preserved marks of the tools with which it was excavated, direct traces of the hands of the 12th century workers that remained engraved in the rock for 900 years. Archaeologists found inside the tunnel and in the adjacent halls a considerable quantity of objects from the Crusader era: ceramics, coins from the Latin kingdoms of the East, fragments of blown glass, pieces of armor, and, in a hall that researchers interpreted as an infirmary, bronze and iron surgical instruments that confirmed the historical records about the medical activity of the Hospitallers. The order was known both for its military function and for its management of hospitals for pilgrims and the wounded, and the archaeological findings confirmed that this medical activity was far more sophisticated than medieval written sources had suggested. Forceps, probes, scalpels, and ointment containers were found, indicating a level of medical practice comparable to that of the best Islamic hospitals of the era, with which the Hospitallers shared medical knowledge despite the situation of permanent conflict. The underground complex of Acre was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List in 2001, together with the ancient city of which it forms part, as one of the best preserved examples of military and civil architecture of the Crusader era. The excavations have brought to light a refectory, a hall of knights with columns of granite imported from Egypt, a kitchen with the hearth still visible on the stone floor, and a series of collective latrines connected to a drainage system that worked with seawater. The sanitary engineering of the Hospitallers complex was so advanced for its time that researchers estimate that the mortality rate from infectious diseases among the residents of the complex was significantly lower than in other comparable medieval European settlements. In Turkey, the underground city of Derinkuyu in the Cappadocia region is perhaps the most impressive example of underground infrastructure of antiquity in the entire world. Derinkuyu was discovered in 1963 when a local resident demolished a wall of his basement and found behind it a room that gave access to a network of tunnels and chambers extending downward through 18 levels, reaching a depth of approximately 80 meters below the surface. The city was capable of housing up to 20,000 people, along with their domestic animals, provisions for months, wine and oil cellars, stables, water deposits, churches carved in the rock, and ventilation shafts that carried fresh air to the deepest levels. Each level was connected to the others by narrow staircases that a single defender could block against dozens of attackers. Leave your like, subscribe, and share. Archaeological analyses and datings of organic materials found in Derinkuyu suggest that the underground city was built and expanded in several phases between the 7th century before Christ and the Byzantine period, with the most intensive use probable during the 7th and 8th centuries after Christ, when Arab incursions into Anatolia caused the Christian population of the region to seek refuge underground for extended periods. The circular stone doors that blocked the accesses between levels, some of them weighing up to 500 kilos and shaped like a millstone, could only be moved from the inside, which made the city a trap for any invader who managed to enter. Derinkuyu is not the only underground city of Cappadocia. It is estimated that there are more than 200 in the region, although most are smaller and many have not been completely explored. The largest known is Kaimakli, which with 8 levels of depth and a horizontal extension of several square kilometers, could have housed at its peak more than 30,000 people. In Scotland, beneath Edinburgh Castle, which crowns a volcanic outcrop in the centre of the Scottish capital, and is one of the most visited castles in the world with more than 2 million visitors annually, there is a network of passages and tunnels that for centuries were the subject of urban legends and unofficial expeditions. In 1999, a team from the Edinburgh Castle Archaeological Research Group directed a systematic exploration of the known passages beneath the castle and found, in addition to the already documented galleries, a series of sealed chambers containing artifacts from the 18th century, including partially decomposed military uniforms, weapons, and documents related to the use of the castle as a military prison during the Napoleonic Wars. The French prisoners captured during those wars had been confined in the dungeons of the castle, and some of them left inscriptions on the stone walls that the archaeologists documented and translated. Names, dates, drawings of ships, and human figures that constitute a direct testimony of the conditions of captivity. One of the most persistent legends about the tunnels of Edinburgh Castle involves a young drummer who was supposedly sent to explore the tunnels in the 18th century and never returned, with the legend that his drum could be heard beneath the streets of the city until the sound stopped abruptly. Archaeologists have not found evidence of that specific episode, but they have documented that the tunnels were used during the siege of the castle in 1689, when the Jacobite forces defending it used the underground passages to move ammunition and water from the storehouses to the defensive positions on the outer walls, while the army of William III of Orange bombarded the defenses from the surrounding hills. In Mexico, one of the most important underground finds of recent years occurred beneath the Pyramid of the Moon at Teotihuacan, the great ceremonial center of pre-Hispanic Mexico located about 50 kilometers northeast of Mexico City. In 2017, a team of archaeologists from the National Institute of Anthropology and History of Mexico, using a resistivity electrical tomography scanner, an instrument that detects variations in the conductivity of the ground and allows the identification of underground cavities without the need to excavate, detected beneath the Pyramid of the Moon a tunnel and a chamber of large dimensions that no one had previously documented. The chamber, according to the team's estimates based on the scanner data, has considerable dimensions and is located several meters below the base of the pyramid. The discovery was significant because it confirmed a pattern at Teotihuacan. The main structures, such as the Pyramid of the Sun, with a natural tunnel beneath it discovered in 1971, and the Temple of the Feathered Serpent, with an artificial sealed tunnel, found in 2003, deliberately incorporated underground space. This presence of structures beneath the pyramids suggests that the builders integrated the subsoil into their religious and ritual conception of the universe, possibly as a representation or symbolic access to the underworld, connecting the cosmic strata, sky, earth, and underworld. Beneath the Temple of the Feathered Serpent at Teotihuacan, a tunnel explored between 2009 and 2015 revealed thousands of ritual objects, including pyrite spheres, jade and obsidian figurines, and human remains. In the final chambers, archaeologists interpreted a possible funerary space of the founders or first rulers of the city. This was a crucial finding, since the lack of deciphered writing at Teotihuacan makes archaeology the only means for understanding its political organization and beliefs. In Jerusalem, excavations beneath the City of David have unveiled a vast system of tunnels, Hezekiah's tunnel, or Siloam Tunnel, dating from the 8th century before Christ, was carved in limestone to divert the water of the Gihon Spring and allow the city to resist the Assyrian siege of Sennacherib in 701 before Christ. The most recent research has shown that the underground system is far more extensive, revealing new stretches of First Temple period canals, possible storehouses, and an imposing 12-meter-high passage that could have served as an escape route during the Babylonian destruction of the city by Nebuchadnezzar II in 586 before Christ. The discovery of a Babylonian arrowhead suggests a hasty abandonment. In Rome, beneath the Palatine, there is a network of tunnels and underground galleries, crypto-porticos, not completely mapped. In 2007, a sealed gallery was discovered that led to an exceptionally well-preserved underground chamber, decorated with inlays of shells, colored glass, and semi-precious stones forming representations of gardens. This chamber was provisionally identified as the triclinium, banquet dining room, of Emperor Augustus's villa, having remained sealed in the darkness for nearly 2,000 years. What connects these discoveries, from the ritual passages of Teotihuacan to the canals of Jerusalem and the imperial galleries of Rome, is the deep relationship of ancient civilizations with underground space. Beyond practical utility, defense, water supply, excavating beneath the earth was a symbolic act, a way of connecting with the dead, the gods of the underworld, and the deep time of the rock. Every tunnel opened by archaeology is a threshold that reveals an intact past, and the certainty that beneath most great historical cities there still exist passages unexplored since antiquity. Leave your like, subscribe, and share. Until next time.